Welcome, people, to episode 13 of the All Gunners podcast. We are here once again to discuss everything Arsenal up to date, your weekly podcast here to deliver as much Arsenal entertainment as possible. I wish I could say it was entertaining at the moment, people, but unfortunately I cannot. However, to replace that entertainment, we have with us our resident host, with me, Zed. How are we doing, my friend?
Hey, Harry. I'm good, mate. Enjoyed the long weekend, but didn't enjoy the football. Funny enough, but we'll obviously come to why we didn't enjoy the football. But
Unfortunately, we will come to that, Zed, will we not? Absolutely.
yes, we will. Yes, we will.
You
But
know, you
but
know.
good to be back.
I tell you something. You know, when Arsenal play at your 3 o'clock, which rarely happens now, doesn't it? They're
Yeah,
generally
yeah.
sort of televised games. Um, it's almost like the rest of the weekend's football is just absolutely no interest and meaningless when we lose. Do you find the same for you as well, or do you still keep a check?
Of course, mate. Of course, mate. I think I didn't check any scores until about Monday when I came back. So I was away from the city for about the whole long weekend. And when I came back on Monday, that's when I actually checked the score, and I was like,
Really,
I
really.
can't really be bothered because it doesn't matter. I think as soon as Arsenal lose, it ruins the entire weekend in terms of
It doesn't
football.
just ruin your football weekend; it ruins your own weekend, doesn't it?
I try not to let it, mate. I'll be honest, right? I'll fight
You
very
you
hard
know what was really
to not
interesting
let
as
it.
well. I had absolutely no idea that there was an FA Cup semi-final being played. Obviously, not being in it.
Yeah, yeah.
City were playing Liverpool, and I'd actually not even known they were playing. So I don't even know what time that was. That must have been happening whilst the 3 o'clocks were kicking off. I don't know.
I think it may have been later in the day, but yeah, I didn't know about it either until it came to my YouTube stream and said, "Hey, you know what? My YouTube homepage. Hey, you got this is something you'd be interested in: Liverpool versus City." And I'm like, "Huh? What? I didn't even know about this."
Well done to Liverpool for that one, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well
know,
deserved.
it's well deserved, and as I say, I've said to you before that all of this City Arab money, stop them winning as many trophies as possible. Would be great, and I hope Liverpool go on and win the Champions League as well. I really do.
Oh, mate, I think I was talking to someone over the weekend, and I actually said that as well. I think Liverpool will do the cup treble this season, so they've got the Carabao. They can win the FA Cup. They were against Chelsea in the final,
Will it be the
and
quadruple if they win the league as well, won't it? I mean,
I don't know. I don't league. I'm still not sold. I think City's pretty much got the league, even though I know it's only a point difference.
yeah,
I think Liverpool, for me, Liverpool's got a better chance of winning the Champions League overall because they're very, very good in these knockout games, whereas City struggled against a very good Atleti side and
yeah,
just finished 1-0.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. On that note, I do want to just say, just picking back off Dan Potts's tweet about Unai Emery doing uh, another job in the
Yeah,
European
yeah.
competition, right?
Oh,
Semi-final with a
congratulations.
Villa.
Congratulations to him.
Honestly,
Yeah.
very he seems to be in his element. I think I will still hold the line to say he had lost the dressing room at Arsenal. It wasn't his
Yeah,
place, but
lots of conversations around that, and I think
yeah,
we
yeah,
always knew even before he came to Arsenal that he's an
he was a good
elite
manager.
he's an elite European sort of competition manager, having won the
Yeah,
champion the not Champions League, the
Europa League.
Europa League a number of times, and now taking, let's face it, and not the greatest team on paper, um, to a Champions League semi-final.
Semi-final.
That's
Yeah, absolutely,
absolutely
man.
a brilliant feat for him. And look, you're right. He'd lost the dressing room. He had to leave Arsenal, but I think
Yeah,
for
of
anyone that
course.
wants to make comparisons, unfortunately, there's a lot of comparisons that are born out of
There are,
agendas, really, and that is
of
because they're
course.
not happy with the current manager. So you always then go and look at the ones that got away, don't you?
Yeah, but I think Unai Emery is in his element right now at Villarreal. He's got a good sporting manager. He's got a good team, and you know what? Some of them are, I think, ex-Arsenal players. Coquelin is one of them.
He's got
Francis
a few
Coquelin.
Tottenham players in there as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, 1 for it. So he's got and Lo
Yeah.
Celso. So yeah, he's got a decent team on him, and congratulations to him. But anyway, this is not the Villarreal podcast. This is the
No,
Gunners
no, no, no.
podcast.
Nor is it the Liverpool podcast. For apologies. Yeah, no. Let's move forward, Zed. Absolutely. And look, we procrastinate because it's not the first thing on our agendas, is it? Because of the loss of to
No,
Southampton,
no.
we're actually finding any excuse to talk about anything on an Arsenal podcast today, guys. But look, we've got to go there, haven't we, Zed? And let's start. I mean, we made predictions in the last game. We were really harsh on Arteta. I wouldn't say harsh actually. I'd say we were critical of him
Fair.
because
I
of
think we were fair.
we were fairly harsh. I think let's go there with the lineups and when I saw the lineup of this one, I certainly thought myself that he'd maybe learned Chaka at left back hasn't
Hmm.
worked and wasn't working in the previous two games. So what was it? So it was back to Tavares at left back.
It was
Um,
back to Nuno Tavares on the left
Chaka
back.
back in the middle, and then I think
Yes.
he hadn't started Smith Rowe in this particular game as well. He went back with
No.
Martinelli up top,
Yeah.
and then obviously Lacazette was injured, so that was the only other change if I remember correctly. Then so you've got Chaka and Lakonga in the middle, and then Nketiah replacing Lacazette. For me, at
Yeah.
that point, I mean, look, as much as I don't like to berate our youngsters, especially our youngsters. Um, and Nketiah hadn't scored a league goal certainly all season prior to being selected in that game, so it didn't fill me with
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
But what was your opinion on the lineup, especially at this moment
Hmm.
of discussion?
Okay. So let's take the back four. I think I was confident. I was confident with the lineup. Let's go with that. That he put out. So Nuno Tavares back at left back. I was like, okay, confident at least, because no, previously Arteta has done this where he's judged a player way too quickly and just kicked him out, and
Mm,
we've never seen that player again, even if it's a player that he's bought like Pablo Mari, right? So, uh, going with Nuno Tavares as a young player to say, look, kid, I've still got some confidence in you. Go out and do a job. It gave me confidence for the future, not just immediately, but for the future. And it provided a better balance. There was a naturally fit player for the position. He wasn't trying to do square pegs and round holes
yeah,
like we talked about in the last game. And then Xhaka going into the middle of the park gave it a bit more solidity. I think this is where we were overrun in the last game.
yeah,
I
yeah.
still wasn't sure about Lakonga because I think the roles were switched. So Lakonga was more of the progressive player, which Xhaka has been, and Xhaka was more of the deep lying player,
The
which
base, yeah,
Party, yeah,
yeah,
base, which Party has been. And we know Xhaka will do a job. We
yeah.
know that Xhaka is a professional. He will just do a job. He'll play where he's required, and he'll do the job. And he was disciplined. Not something we associate with Xhaka, but he was disciplined. He did his job. I think Lakonga is too raw for me to be starting
You
games, but
wanted Mohamed El Neni in the last podcast, if I remember correctly,
absolutely,
didn't you?
absolutely,
And he's and he's
absolutely.
and he's and he's overlooked Mohamed again,
He's
hasn't he?
overlooked again. I think for me, if he had played Mohamed and Lenny in there, he could have been the base around which you could have had Xhaka and Odegaard do their job, which is
Yeah.
what he's normally done with Party. So because Mohamed and Lenny's job would have been just to break up play. But anyway, we've talked about this. All the listeners can go check out episode 12 on my what I thought about that. But
Well, he
yeah, he
didn't
went
go.
with
He didn't
Martinelli.
go with that one in the. He didn't go with either of our lineups. I think because I
No,
think
he didn't. He didn't.
I think I was now at the point fed up with Lacazette and asking for Martinelli to be played. And I think I wanted Pepe in the lineup, so he didn't go with either of our
Yeah.
lineups in it. So
No, he
we can
didn't. He didn't.
definitely rule out him being a subscriber to the All Gunners podcast, can't we? We can definitely say
Oh,
that.
mate, it could be the opposite effect where he said,
Yeah,
"I'm
yeah.
not doing what these guys are saying because
No,
they'll take credit."
no, no, and we're gonna talk about the stubbornness of the manager a little bit later on, I think, towards the end of the podcast. But
Yeah.
so they started playing, and my eye was quite keenly on the left back area to see whether Tavares would be play. And actually, I have to say he didn't have a disastrous first half. He didn't do a
No,
whole lot
no.
wrong, but he didn't do a whole lot too great either. To be honest with you,
I think he was okay.
he was
I think
he
he
was
was okay.
okay. He was just a standard 5 out of 10 for me in that first half, you know. But I
Yeah.
was watching him keenly because I wanted to see if he had bounced back and he had reacted. But
Hmm.
I mean, look, for me, I think overall, um, that bugbear of conceding at half time was always going to have a difficult mental effect on the team. Um,
Absolutely.
again, I mean, you see, look, we've been watching Arsenal all season, nearly every game this season, haven't we? And
Yeah, yeah,
I
of
think it's
course.
fair to say that in that first half, we weren't as fluid as we have been. I mean, I'm going to give you a comparison here to how we came out the blocks. I always sort of mark this one as how we came out the
Hmm.
blocks against Leicester, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the kind of start that I associate with Arsenal. When they're playing well certainly in this season, it wasn't like that. It was quite lethargic. There were chances made. Southampton weren't offering much at all. I can't before their goal. I can't remember them having a shot at goal. Maybe a
No,
few
no.
long range shots from way out the box, but Ramsdale wasn't troubled at all, was he?
No, it wasn't. No, he wasn't. I think I agree with you. They weren't doing much, but they were defensively okay. They weren't defensively all that solid. I think the problem was that our finishing was absolutely
It was a
atrocious this
dismal.
game.
It was a
Oh my
dismal.
god, it was
Yeah.
so bad. It was absolutely the worst I've seen in ages. So Saka got an opportunity in the first half where all he had to do was keep his shot down, and Foster can't
Keep
do
that
anything.
low, and that's rustling the back of the net, isn't it?
Exactly. That's 1-0. There was nothing there. And then there was obviously Foster's incredible save from Smith Rowe's deflected shot as well. I think this game, as much as I would say Arsenal were playing rubbish, which they were, let's not get it wrong, luck wasn't on their side either. But I think you only get lucky if you put up the performance that you're talking about, where you actively try to
Yeah,
get something at the end.
I have to agree with you on the Forester because the I was listening to a podcast earlier where it was discussed about, well, no, they were quite standard saves. I actually have to say, I mean, I was listening to the commentary, and
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, I don't find the commentary always in favour of Arsenal, but I have to say I agree with some of the commentary. There were world class saves being
There
made
was some
by
good
him.
save.
There was
There
some
was some good
brilliant
save.
saves, and yes, I think luck has a part to play. But they say, don't they, Zed, that you make your own luck,
Yeah, I agree,
and we didn't.
and that's why I mean, yeah, that's why I say I think there wasn't enough quality in those finishes to beat the goalkeeper. Let's say even if the goalkeeper's going through a purple patch, you should be, doing more, right? The chances were few and far between. There was loads of
Well,
possession.
they hadn't won a game, Southampton, in more than 5 games, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly. They'd just come off a thrashing, and I don't mean a thrashing, a 6-0 thrashing from Chelsea the week before, and that
yeah,
was at home as well, right?
yeah.
The odds were firmly. I know we're not on great form, but this is Arsenal Football Club. The odds were firmly stacked in our favour. I'd say.
Hmm. I think yeah, I was confident in this game. I think even when you go back to the last episode, I was thinking, okay, this is the game to bounce back on. And the only shot they have on target, which is actually troubling, is Ramsdale gets a bit unlucky and it comes off his shoulder. Any arm on that and it goes over, and he's made a great save. But it
Yeah.
just wasn't going. It comes off his arm and goes into the goal. It just wasn't his. Uh, it was just wasn't Arsenal's day. I think it
No,
was
well,
just one of
and
those.
this is the problem, and as we've seen, there are statistics out there that when we don't score first this season, and the other team scores first, we're actually more likely to lose, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I watched the second half in entirety, I have to say, Zed, and
Hmm.
we never looked like scoring in the second half either.
No, I think there was loads of possession just back and forth around their box. There was nothing else. In fact, Arsenal bloody had 76% possession,
Oh my
in that
god,
game.
my
Do you
god.
see how insane that is? 76%, right? That's three quarters of the time of the 90 that Arsenal had the ball.
But again, this is, and I'm going to say this. You'll know what I mean when I say this. Is that
Yeah.
Southampton looked defensively comfortable as well. It was as if they
They did?
knew that this team, they'd done their homework, and they'd see that this team has scored one lucky goal in the last 3 or 4 games of football, right? And I'm
Yeah.
talking about the Odegaard goal versus Brighton that just happened to clip
Yeah.
someone and go in. And
Yeah.
actually, these guys, the irony of it, the Gunners have run out of firepower.
And they have. I absolutely agree with you on the irony of it. And this is where we're lacking that quality finisher. So that's why I think that's where you were coming from the last podcast
Yeah,
episode, where you were saying play Pepe, right? This was a prime opportunity to not play Nketiah, who you know is out of the door already, right? He hasn't scored a goal. Why is he starting? That's going back to the team
yeah.
lineup. Martinelli should be
The
up front.
the manager choosing Nketiah, I have to say, baffled me there, Zed. I
Yeah,
have to
I
say
agree
it
with you. I
baffled me.
agree with
And I think when we talk about often we've talked about round pegs in square holes, etc., etc. I think where he is at the moment, and we'll go into it later, no doubt, but certainly in this particular game, it's almost as if he's got now, he's chosen people in these particular positions other than the Chaka situation, because I think Chaka is probably, he was forced into that decision. But let's park Chaka
Yeah,
up for a
yeah,
second. I think when Lacazette's not there, it's Nketiah or nobody. And
yeah. Absolutely,
I think
it's
he's
nobody.
very stubborn on that selection. When it's Saka coming off, it will be Pepe,
Maybe
but not
Pepe.
even first choice, because we've seen Saka coming off and him bringing Nketiah on. And let's not even go there. We've been there. I think that was episode 9 that we
Yeah,
discussed
yeah.
that foul decision of his to do that. But I think I think it's fair to say that Pepe is Saka's replacement at this moment in time, right?
He's the backup, so he's got a backup for every single
Is
position,
a position,
and
and on the other
that
side
is
you've got
what he'll do.
Smith Rowe for Martinelli, and so on and so forth. And I think this is what my observation is what this game uncovered is that, and nobody's really talking about this, is that I think that predictability has seen Arsenal being found out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's killed us, honestly. And this game was a prime example of it, where at halftime, okay, fine, you started with Nketiah. At halftime, you know you need to get a goal, right? You're behind. They've scored a 44th minute. You need to go. Just take Nketiah off, who has been absolutely useless the first half, right? Nothing. He's done absolutely nothing. He's offered you nothing, right? Move Martinelli through the center, who's going to create a lot of trouble because he's fast, he's tricky. The centre backs are automatically drawn to him. That creates space for Pepe, even if he's playing on the left, to do something, right? Pepe loves to cut in. He could have created something out of nothing, and that one goal would have been the inspiration to go and win this game.
And you mentioned Pepe in that as well, and we've talked about it previously as well. Is that this is his time in the season now. We've seen the time that he's been here. He excels at that last part of the season, and to
Yeah,
use
but
him, Zed,
bro.
with 20 minutes to go, I'll be surprised if that chap is at the club come summer.
Oh no, I think Arsenal's just going to flog him for 20-25 million. They'd be lucky to get 25 million for him, to be honest. And wherever he goes, he's going to absolutely
He probably
smash
will
it.
excel. Yeah, he
He will.
probably will do well. Yeah,
I tell you what, if he joins another Premier League team in like Southampton or Leicester or
maybe at
something like
Newcastle.
Leeds,
Maybe at
a
Newcastle.
Newcastle,
Yeah.
absolutely, a team that plays on the break, he will smash 10 plus goals in the league.
You were about to disagree with me there, Zed, on that point anyway, in terms of the Pepe thing. Or you were about to say
Yeah,
something.
no, no, I'm about to say the fact that it's regardless of how many times you mention it, it's so bloody frustrating that Arteta will never change his system. Not just the system. I understand the system. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong there. He will never change the players that
It's the
he's
personnel.
earmarked.
It's the
It's the
personnel.
personnel thing,
And
right?
that's what I'm
It's the
saying,
bloody
Zed,
personnel
earlier
thing.
when I said that we've been had out, we've been found out, we've been. And that's what happens in Premier League football. The,
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
the other teams that do their homework. And don't get me wrong, Southampton, Brighton, Crystal Palace, these are probably our 3 worst bogey teams. We don't do well at Southampton, at St Mary's, generally speaking. Um, but if you want to finish in the top 4, Zed, these
You
are the
gotta
games
beat
that
them, man.
you have to convincingly win. Yeah.
You have to win this game. You have to win this game. Southampton were not in this game. They were sitting.
Oh,
That's all they were doing.
they were poor. They were
They were
poor.
absolutely
Yeah,
poor. They were poor.
they
They
were
had
trash.
nothing to offer. They didn't even win a free kick for Ward-Prowse to do anything about. Right?
But we were
That's
worse.
but we were. You know what we were? We were toothless. That's what we've been at points under Arteta. We have been toothless. Right?
Yeah.
There was no striker. There's no forward, and we know our young forwards, have got a goal in them, but they're not at that clinical level yet. You have one player who's clinical, and Arteta will just not play him. But you know, I'm just frustrated at this point now.
I, I, I
I
agree.
just
I
it's
agree.
just it's stupid.
Final point on the Southampton game. It's something I've
Yeah,
just written in my notes that I want to get your view on. Really, here, Zed,
go
is
on.
he looked lost on the sideline. There's absolutely no doubt he run out of ideas. The gaffer had,
Hmm.
but hooking both fullbacks and just throwing on every forward you've got. What was his thinking there? Because where would your
Going for
width?
broke.
Where would your width come from?
It's going for broke. It's about getting as many bodies as you can in the box to try to win the second ball because we haven't got a player who's going to win the header. Let's be honest. Unless you move Gabriel up front, you know what it was? It was Mourinho tactic when he used to put Fellaini up front.
Look, I remember at Alex Ferguson used to throw on all of his forwards, yeah,
Yeah,
but he'd never take his fullbacks off. Why? Because they'd be whipping the ball towards the box. You know,
I think the fullbacks in this case was Saka and Martinelli. I think did he come off? I'm not sure. I don't remember now. He may have came off, but no, Martinelli stayed on. So
Martinelli
Tavares,
stayed on. Tavares came off for
I think Pepe.
Smith Rowe. I think I want to say,
Smith Rowe.
yeah,
Okay, whatever it may be. So both fullbacks came off, and I think what happened is Saka and Martinelli, or Saka or Pepe, became those wide players because
yeah.
they're the naturally most fit wide players.
I
And then you
understand.
got,
I understand moving Saka to left back because he's played there before, but Pepe is not going to do anything for you in the right back role.
I think Pepe can do a job for the last 10, 20 minutes. I think
But
when you're
you
1-0
don't
down.
want him there though, Zed. That's the point I'm trying to
Oh,
make.
absolutely,
You want it.
absolutely,
It's
I
not
agree with
about
you.
doing a job here. You're chasing the game, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
you can see how desperate he is. It's like you need Pepe in those forward. I mean, look, it's a bit like when Pepe came on against Wolves. That's the perfect scenario.
Perfect
You want
time.
Pepe,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's the perfect scenario to come on and say, Pepe, come on and do a job now. You know, and push up front and take players on and whip the ball into. But you also need your fullbacks overlapping to move the players are in front of you out in tracking the fullbacks so that it makes space for your Pepe's to make the run. If you and I know that, then what the bloody hell is he doing, Zed?
I'm telling him, as you say, he ran out of ideas,
He
right?
was
And what
lost.
he thought, what he said, you captured it perfectly. But here's me trying to rationalize this, and I think what the idea was, just chuck as many bodies as you can who can create something out of nothing, right? Because
Yeah,
that's what it was coming down to. It was going for broke. There was nothing else that was being offered. You can put a million balls into the box, but this team has got no height, no ball winners. Absolutely, it is the stupidest, daftest thing in the world. And we criticized Arteta when we were talking, not on the podcast, but offline,
yeah.
when he first came in and we started, yeah, we were defensively solid, but everything was just going through balls being whipped into the box. Suddenly he realized, oh my God, Trent Alexander-Arnold is the most creative fullback. I'm going to do the same thing. But you haven't really got a Mo Salah who can take a one touch and just finish it, right? You
No.
haven't got Sadio Mane, and you haven't got a Firmino who's going to drop and do your defensive work when what you call your fullback is up, right? And
Yeah.
it seems like a mess of a idea to do. If he had got Vlahovic and he was putting the balls in the box, I would have been like, hands up, mate, you've done it.
I'm not even going to comment on Vlahovic. Let's just move on.
No, no, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm too frustrated. Let's
Yeah.
bloody move on.
I mean, look, we have now Chelsea on Wednesday night.
Yeah,
Away at Stamford Bridge. Our
yeah,
record's not too bad over there.
yeah.
Backs
I
have
mean,
been
it's all
against the
right.
wall last season or the season before, certainly, and we ended up pulling a victory over there. After that, then Zed, we've got Manchester United back at the Emirates. I'm not too sure how welcoming we will be to Manchester United on that day. We probably give them a win as well, but I'm going to let you talk about that. And then we've got West Ham away, so we've got three very tricky games there, Zed. And I want you to just preview, in particular, that Chelsea game tomorrow night with
Mm-hmm.
more kind of given the fact that that is the most recent and next game. Can we get a result at Stamford Bridge in
Okay,
current form and with the squad that we've got, giving consideration potentially Lacazette may not be there as well? What's your thoughts on that, Zed?
3-0 to Chelsea minimum.
Wow.
Right. Let's be honest, right? Chelsea are not in the best of their form. Let's be clear. Lukaku may or may not play. This could be the game that even galvanizes Lukaku for Chelsea.
Well, we do
That's how
like to
bad it is.
galvanise teams and people, don't we?
Absolutely right. Yeah. So this could be the turning point in Lukaku's Chelsea career, where he comes and smashes a hat trick, and everyone's like, "Yeah, this is the best player in the world," because Currently, it seems like this team is devoid of confidence, and the gaffer is not able to get them going. I don't think he's lost the dressing room. Let me be clear, and I don't think he's walking away at this point, right? What's going to happen is to go away at Chelsea, who's a very, very well organized team, and with their defense now fully fair, you've got Rudiger back, you've got what you call Thiago Silva, you've got Reece James,
Yeah.
all playing now, right? And then you've got Ziyech and you've got Havertz, who's probably going to be starting as a false nine or the striker, right?
Hmm.
I don't think we have enough to do something for Chelsea. I want to be wrong. I want to be absolutely wrong, and I want him to go away like it was with Lampard's, I think, last or second last game last season before Tuchel came in, when Smith Rowe came in and we just blew them away 3-1, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Arsenal have got the confidence or the galvanization to be able to do that. We look very flat. We look very toothless. I think the problem isn't keeping the ball or winning the tackle or even defensively being error prone. There was no defensive errors going around in the last couple of games. I think the problem is that Arsenal have not got the goals in them. So if you want me to be not emotional and be very logical about what the score is going to be, I think Chelsea is going to win by 2 goals to
Would you
nil
be happy with
minimum.
a draw tomorrow night, Zed?
I'll take a draw. I'll take a draw.
I
I
think
won't be
most fans
happy, but
would.
I'll take it.
I think most
I'll,
fans would.
at least as a point. At least as a result.
I think the
Right.
best. I think the best we can hope for tomorrow night is to come away with a point and not lose.
Absolutely. I think that's the fair point. That would be probably the best result. If we by miracle win, I will be very, 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 very happy. And you probably hear it in my voice when we do the next episode.
Mate, I'll do a pod that same evening with you tomorrow night if they win. I'll do a live
you
one.
know, yeah. We'll break all of our rules and just go live.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, I mean, look, that's interesting, and how look, we could talk about this all evening, really, Zed. But
absolutely. Yeah.
I want to know really from you. I want you to dig deep into whether the gaffer is going to learn from the look. You've just spent pretty much the best part of half an hour talking about Arsenal misfiring. If I
Hmm.
was manager of this team, I'd be thinking, right, how can I defensively, although we are starting to now leak goals, but I think that's because the whole team is playing poorly and lacking
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah, yeah.
But let's part that to a side. I think, generally speaking, defensively, that back four with Chaka stroke the Congo in front of them can generally, on a good day, keep teams out. Right, most teams out.
Yeah,
However,
I think they can do a job.
however, what I would say to you is that
Mhm.
the firing lack of firing needs to be looked at. What is he doing? Sitting down with his strategies and thinking, right, who can I shuffle around here now, right, that can
Mhm.
get them firing? But we've also seen a very stubborn side to him where it will be potentially the same lineup as what he played with Nketiah starting again, who hasn't scored a league goal all season. For me, and
Mhm.
you know what my thoughts are on this, is I'm going to go with the same as it was again with the Brighton preview. So
Yeah.
post Brighton
The
preview
Southampton, the
in
post.
terms
Yeah.
of Martinelli through the middle, Pepe in the team, and Saka in the team. Maybe. Oh, sorry, yeah, no, sorry. Going with Pe- bringing Pepe in and play Martinelli through the middle.
Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow night, right? Chelsea big game. As much as I would like to say, and I agree with you, by the way, before I go into this rant, right? It's I agree with you that the back four, including the goalkeeper, that's pretty set. I think most likely Nuno Tavares will start. I absolutely don't want a scenario where Nuno Tavares doesn't start and Xhaka plays a bloody left back. That for me is still the worst case scenario, regardless of what happens at the front, because I think it compromises us defensively. Not because Xhaka isn't can't do a job at left back or isn't a good left back or can't be the professional that he is. It's more by the fact that that's not his natural position. And we've talked about today about square pegs in round holes already. I mean, we've bloody repeated the same saying about 4 times already. So I don't think that's the best scenario. I want it to be Nuno Tavares, whatever he may be, however he may play. He's a young player. He's only going to get better if you give him the chance to get better. So he should play left back, and the other back, what you call defenders, are already guaranteed. We know it's going to be Cedric. We know it's going to be Gabriel. We know it's going to be Ben White. So I'm happy with that. Xhaka, where he's needed, is centre midfield. And with Lakonga, I mean, Lakonga's a good player, as I said as well. He can do a job. He's okay. He can move the ball forward. He picks up the ball. He's willing to pick up the ball from the defenders. So he's good. But for me, Xhaka has been the best for Arsenal this season when he's been given the opportunity to go forward, when he's been given the free role or a number
Yeah,
eight role when he's gone forward and just being at the edge of the box, as you've seen when you pointed out. And I think when we were for episode 5 or episode 6, when you said, bloody hell, he's at the edge of the box, where's he doing there, right?
yeah.
And he was quite high up against Southampton as well. That was because Arsenal had so much of the ball rather than you know him sitting back. But yeah, that's fine. When it comes up front, I would love for him to do what you say. I would absolutely love for him to do what you say. Odegaard in his number 10 slash number 8 role that he's been doing, he's going to do that. Pepe off the left, Saka off the right, and then Martinelli through the middle. That probably will give us more of an edge in Chelsea against Chelsea than him putting Nketiah on, playing Smith Rowe, or him playing Xhaka at left back. So I agree with your team selection. Honestly, this is probably the first time that we've agreed on every single player. Right? This is probably a historic moment where we both agreed on exactly the same starting 11. But at the same time, and this is what the messed up part is, at the same time, I know it's going to be the same bloody team that played against Southampton.
This is frustrating thing, isn't it? And that's why we'll come to discussing the frustrations around how stubborn Arteta is. And look, I've been there and praised him when he's done well and when it's worked, and I've
Yeah,
liked what I've seen. And I think, look, this is what all about having a squad in the Premier League is about. Literally, the meaning is in the word. It's a squad, isn't it? And
yeah.
if you can't coach the replacement for the main guy to do what the main guy was doing, or as good as the main, or nearly as good as the main guy was doing,
Nearly as
then
good. That's what the competition's about places, right?
which forces then you into then going against the grain and overthinking things and making decisions like Chaka at left back, which are going to cost you. Because as we've seen before, Chaka was used at left back by Emery, if you remember correctly,
Yeah, yeah, he was.
years
He
ago.
was.
You know,
That's when it started.
that's when it started. So it's not an Arteta the Chaka at left back idea. He's obviously recognised that that's happened previously, and as you say very very correctly, Chaka can do a job there. But it's the lack of realising that how light you then go in the middle. Brighton
Yeah.
with Basuma absolutely smashed us in midfield, and if we're saying that as fans from the sideline, then really there's a naivety there with the manager, isn't there, in that kind of selection?
Oh, big naivety. I think that's the issue with Arteta. I think he overthinks it. He thinks he's too smart sometimes, and he does things that are just like, why are you doing that? I really sometimes I
Outlandish.
really, yeah.
Outlandish.
I think look, he's a young manager. He seems to have a lot of potential, right? A lot of people have talked well about him having the potential to be a good manager. I think sometimes he gets in his own way. That's
I
the
think that's
issue.
a really good way you put it there. He gets in his own way
He gets in his own way. I
without
think you
realizing.
Yeah, he overthinks it, he overcomplicates it, he overplans. Because the thing is, for me, he doesn't want to be a Pep number two, right? He doesn't want to always be the person who's compared to Pep and said, "Oh, he's playing the Pep Guardiola system. He's playing the Pep Guardiola system." At the same time, he doesn't want to pick up the Gegenpress from Klopp. He's trying to create his own system, his own identity of who he is as a manager. And for a young manager, right? He's still the youngest manager in the Premier League.
Yeah,
uh, I think even with Lampard and Gerrard here, it might be true that he's still the youngest manager in the Premier League. That he overthinks it, he overcomplicates stuff. But the time for learning at a club like Arsenal is quickly running out.
yeah,
That is my point, right? I'm all for him to be the greatest manager ever, right? And I love it to be at Arsenal, right, where he achieves this. But time is quickly running out for him to start doing what his backup plans are. He's got a very good first plan now. We know that we've seen that he's got a very,
Yeah,
very good
yeah, brilliant
first
one.
team plan,
Yeah.
right? But if you're going to compete in four competitions like your Klopp and your Guardiola, right, you have to have a plan for every single game, and you have to have a plan for every single team. Just think about it. Jack
And a
Grealish,
contingency, sorry to cut you
yeah,
there,
go on.
Zed, a contingency there as well for, there's a naivety there that he thought that he was going to go for half a season and nobody gets injured.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's not. I think that there is a naivety there, and at the same time, there's that overthinking, overzealous thing that look, we'll wait till the summer where it's easier to do business to get the right player in, and look, I would be happy if there's no Champions League football this season, but we finish strong in the Europa League, right? Because at the start of the season, the goal was Europa League. Let's not get it wrong. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah. We know we didn't
all the
think we were
fans.
going to be here. No.
Yeah, absolutely. All the fans just this was a good position. It's a good preview of where we can be, but Europa League was still the target. I think the noise coming out of Arsenal, interviews with Vinay and with what you call Josh Kroenke, it was we are advanced of our plans of where we need to be. They're taking this slowly. They're taking this year by year, and they're trying to build something with the Arteta, and I'm all for that, right? This is the better way to do things, and Man U are going to try to follow suit with Eric Ten Hag in this now, because that is the way to do things. You can't just keep chucking money at a problem. You have to build something. That's what Wenger did. That's what Sir Alex Ferguson did. That's what Klopp has done. That's what Guardiola's done, right? So Klopp is now the longest serving manager in the Premier League at 6 years. So it's taken him 6 years to get this team to be world class and elite. It didn't happen overnight, it didn't happen quickly,
No, it didn't. No.
right? So there has to be an element of patience with it. I think the problem is that when he does the stupid things that he's doing right now, that's what frustrates us. And you say, look, man, if we can, granted, we're not football people, he knows a lot better, he's the professional. But it's frustrating when he tries to play players in the wrong position and he has a better solution when everyone can see there's a better solution. That's the frustrating bit.
Right, Zed, we're gonna come towards the end. I think look, I did ask you a little bit just to touch on in your final points on this little mini run now that is coming in the next few games. So we've got Chelsea away tomorrow, then we have Manchester United at home. Very, very quickly, and then West Ham away. Very quickly, Zed. 9 points
Mm.
there for the taking there.
Yeah.
Um, being absolutely honest, not from your heart but from your head, how many points are we getting out of those 9?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. So how many points are we getting out of this? So Chelsea 0. This is logically, not by heart, not by emotional thing.
Yeah.
Chelsea are a better team, right? They're more organized. They've got better players. They've got a better coach, a more advanced coach who's he's won things. He's a more experienced coach, right? And he can dig them out of stuff. For me, it just doesn't make sense for Chelsea to lose at home to an Arsenal team that's low in confidence. If you asked me this question 3 months ago, I would have probably said no. We can go in and do a job, right? But right now, as it stands, unless there's a big reaction, I don't think it's going to be anything. So for me, that's 0 point there. Manchester United, interestingly enough, I'm going to say 3 points. Okay.
Mm.
The reason for that is they're worse than us, right? They are so much worse than us, and they're only escaping. Remember, they were drawing with Norwich, and Norwich are by far the worst team in the league,
Mm.
right? So they won because of one world class player. And just FYI, my condolences to
Yeah,
Ronaldo
Ronaldo losing
for
his
losing a
little boy.
child.
Yeah, yeah,
That is the worst feeling any parent can have, honestly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
So
then
right.
West
So
Ham finally.
West Ham, I think again they're not been in good form. I think David Moyes has put all his eggs in the
Europa.
Europa League basket. I think he's trying to qualify for the Champions League through that. And I think they can do that. To be honest, they've been good. But I think if we win against Manchester United, I think we can do a number on West Ham because just like us, they're
Mm.
struggling in the goals
Yeah,
department.
and it might breed a bit of confidence winning against. Manchester United.
against United. Yeah, so I'm
So
gonna
you
say
said
6 points out
6 points
of
there.
9.
Okay, that's fair, and that'd still keep us in the race because then we go to Tottenham at some point, still in the race,
Leeds
and
then Tottenham,
yeah, yeah.
basically.
So all right, okay. Look, I'm gonna agree with you actually. I'm gonna say
Oh,
that
all right.
yeah, look, but I'm gonna say to you, it's subject to team selection. I'm gonna tell you this now. If he
Hmm.
plays the same team as he played against Southampton,
Yeah.
I would be probably I would lower my prediction down to 1 point out of the 3 games. Yeah, no, I'm being absolutely serious. If he plays the team by i.e. putting Martinelli through the middle in
Yeah.
Lacazette's absence and Pepe on the pitch, or Pepe
All
brought
game.
on a lot sooner, right? Then I think we'll go with what you've got. But as we know, he absolutely won't. Very
No.
very quickly, just out of I want a yes or no here now, Zed, because we're wrapping up
Okay, go
now.
on. All right, cool, cool.
Is top four over?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm
Simple answer.
I'm going to agree with you there as well. I'm going to
Yeah.
agree with you. Right, guys, listen. It's been short. It's been sweet, as always. And look, we want to be proven wrong on all of our negative thoughts at the moment, and we want to come back and we want to admit that
Absolutely.
we're wrong about all of this, don't we, Zed? So,
Yes.
let's hope we are wrong. But it's not a great time to be an Arsenal fan. We've had good moments this season, but it's also been it's one of our low points. I've been Harry Carnu. You can catch me on Twitter as I spelt it, as I said it. It's Harry Carnu with KHANU. Zed, what's your Twitter handle so people can
Uh,
catch you?
yeah, you can catch me on Z_TAGP and reach out if you want to be on the next episode of the All Gunners podcast. All right.
Gonna have to love you, leave you guys, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. Loads more content coming, loads more guests coming as well. Take care and see you all soon.
See you all soon. Thank you. Bye.